And there we go.
Aha! Magic.
Welcome everybody to Near Mid Condition. This is Omar, and with me, as always, is
Hey, this is Rob. Thanks for tuning in.
Tina. Hey.
Hey, I'm here too. It's Dan.
Dan.
Yep, and the Dan.
well. Thank you guys for joining me, all of us, and thanks to our viewers that are watching this live, or if you're watching it later. Thank you. So, Rob,
Yes.
you had this idea about an Avengers initiative. No, I'm just kidding. So,
No, I did not have that idea at all.
So I think tonight's episode we're going to focus on our labor of love, how much time and things we invest into the hobbies that we enjoy. I think we all have our own stories. So I will let these fine folks talk first because I'm always talking. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Roberto,
So, okay, let's do this.
video game expert.
We want to do, so I have 3 stories I want to tell. I have 100, but I have 3 I wanted to tell. Do we want to just tell one and go around the circle, or should I do all 3?
I don't do one and then we'll see. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what I was thinking was Labor Day is a good time to not labor, to be off from work, and I ended up doing lots of labor for my video game stuff. These things that we do, these things that we love, they really are a labor of love. Let me give you an example. I talked about this briefly on Twitter, but maybe not the whole thing. So I bought this game called Return of Double Dragon. New. This just came out the other day. Apparently, it's a company called Retroism. They made Unholy Night, which I think I also talked about on a previous episode of Dear Mid Condition.
Stars are brightly shining.
That's Holy Night, not Unholy. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. I know what I'm here for.
Oh, Dan.
Dan, I love it.
Wait, you opened that?
Let me get started with the happenings. Amazon, okay, I shouldn't say this is not Amazon's fault. The company sent this in a little baggie. It was not plastic sealed at all.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, I know, right? It had little scuffs on it. Great. You open it up. Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay. It came in this little bag. Like, okay. And came with there's a manual in here. Actually, the manual's pretty cool. The manual is the game. Oh, and there's an advertisement for Unholy Night. The stars are brightly shining.
Why is it a labor of love for you, though, with this game?
So, that's what the game is. And I was super excited about this because this is based on the Super Nintendo, the Japanese Super Nintendo version of Super Double Dragon, which we never call which Return of the Dragon, right? I never played it. I was so hyped to play it. I stick it into my Super Nintendo, and it does the following.
Your crotch?
I apologize for my crotch in the video. Put it in my legit Super Nintendo, unmodified Super Nintendo, and it does nothing. Nothing. I'm like, that's odd. So I give it the Nintendo blowjob. Nothing. Now, I have a second
How much
Super
did you
Nintendo.
pay for that?
$50. $50.
You pay $50 American dollars. Okay.
$50 American dollars. That's right. So I'm like,
And it doesn't work. This is why you open your game. You know that, right? Like, this is the lesson that the universe is teaching you. You have to open your games to test them.
Never
Is it like
open
a weird
the game.
bootleg?
Well, again, this is a new game, so it's using presumably
Retro
technology or reproduction technology or something. But the same company released Unholy Night, which works just fine on my Super Nintendo. So I was like, okay, maybe I just need to try my Super Nintendo Junior. So I grabbed that, stick it in, nothing there. But WTF? What's the problem? So then I turned into this dude. This is a. Y'all can see this. This is a game bit set where I can go in and crack open these games. Open up the Super Nintendo.
That's a Big Lot screwdriver. A Dollar General.
Dollar General store.
Yeah.
So what you can
I hate
do
to
with
be that guy, but just saying, you might have gotten ripped off.
Do you hate to be that guy?
No, you don't.
No.
So if you look at this, this uses not a special type of screwdriver. You have to have a special bit in order to get into this thing. So my labor of love is me cracking this thing open, investigating if there's something wrong with it. Look, we're going to do this live on the air. I'm probably going to lose the whole thing. Cracking this thing opening, making sure there's nothing like floating around. Here it is. Here's the game. Pretty neat, right? Putting in directly
Right.
with Super Nintendo, no dice. Then I decided to put it in. This is a Japanese game. Maybe it'll work in my Super Famicom with Satellaview on it. It doesn't work in that either. Go to the forums, find out that there are some revisions of Super Nintendo that don't work. Namely, the original Super Nintendos, which of course that's all that I have is original Super Nintendo. So all this effort of me cracking open the thing, all this labor was for naught, and I am super irritated. Now, what makes it funny though is it works on every single clone Super Nintendo. So if you have a Retron or the Super NT, you can rip it, get the ROM that plays. So apparently, if I want to play this game, I'm going to have to rip it and get a ROM in order for it to play on my legit hardware. I'm pissed about that. Thanks, Retroism. You win.
So
I'm
what you're
sorry.
saying is that it doesn't work because you have a legitimate system, and you have to get another system like a version 1.0 or
Yeah,
3.0.
so the Super Nintendo, there were 3 revisions of Super Nintendo where Nintendo consolidated the chip. And you could argue that because they consolidated the chips inside of the Super Nintendo, it was actually less compatible. But I guess this company only tested with one of those. So yeah, you need to track down a Super Nintendo, and there's no way to. Well, there's not an easy way to tell which revision chip that you have. Or I could just get the ROM and put it on my SD to SNES and call it a day. So yeah, this is a whole lot of headache for very little payoff for a slightly above mediocre video game.
And this is a known problem with this game.
Well, it wasn't known until after it came out. It was originally on the Amazon page, which I will not link to in the description. Originally, it was like, oh, it works with Super Nintendo consoles. And in fact, on the box, it says here, SNES console compatible, right? Right? And nowhere on here does it say, oh, it does not work. But Amazon not Amazon, Retroism mysteriously updated the description in the link where it's like, oh, it doesn't work on original SNESs. Like, I would not, me, being a hardcore collector, I would not have purchased it had I known it wasn't going to work. It'd been like, whatever.
So, you know how I am. Did you get your money back?
Did you demand satisfaction?
Did
You know
you
what?
barter with him with corn
You're-
husks?
You guys are right. Omar has taught me the teachings of calling Amazon and complaining. So I need to go in. Like, I don't want to return it because it is.
No, don't return it. Just get your shit back.
Yeah, I do need to I want to keep it because it is what it is. And my buddy Darren, what's up, Darren, has a Super NT, so I'm going to stick it in there, rip it, get the ROM extra game. So I don't want to return it. But you're right. I need to pull an Omar and call him. Let me speak to your supervisor. Oh, let me speak to their supervisor and get like.
Wait, if you're calling the retro system, then I'm sure it's one guy going, yeah, that's me. I am also the manager. I'm also the guy that put the chip in there.
I like this product so much, I'm also a client.
I'm also playing. So yeah, that was part of my Labor Day weekend was me cursing, trying to figure out why this isn't working, and it turns out the company just sucks.
Nice.
My other stories won't be quite so negative. Go ahead. Who's next?
So for this labor of love thing, does it count that I spent a good chunk of Labor Day weekend defeating divine beasts and getting the Master Sword finally?
That is a good thing.
Does that count?
No, that doesn't count.
I mean, that's abnormal for me.
Dan never plays video games anymore, so I mean, did he even really play video games?
I'm proud of you, but I mean, it totally doesn't count. Now,
No, it does count. It does count.
Standing in line to get a certain figure or driving around the city for hours trying to find a Transformers absolutely counts.
Well, I mean, that's just the everyday grind, right? Don't you guys have the everyday grind for your hobby, or is that just toy collecting?
No, because there is a difference between toy collecting and what I do with the omnibus and hardcover collecting, right? With toy collecting, a lot of these things are released out into the public, right? Like where they're at Walmart.
Into the wild, as it were.
If
Where
you will.
you actually have to hunt for them. You're actually toys.
Right. Whereas these omnibus editions and things like that,
Pre-order.
if they are to sell out, they're usually at a website. And I mean, I have hardly seen most of these collected editions sell out. I can think of a number of times that a few have sold out. Recently, for example, like the Metal Gear box set up here, the Art of Metal Gear sold out quick, and I was worried that they pulled a Sky, the Art of Final Fantasy on us, where it's going to take them like 8 months to release a non-limited edition. But
Yeah.
they didn't. They just released like a quick second print run. But like I said, that rarely happens. Whereas toys, like what you do, I mean, if they're out there, you gotta go drive around WalMarts and things like that.
So
So yeah,
Dan, yeah,
that's
I'd love to hear like your daily grind of what you're doing.
well,
Right.
obviously the daily grind changes from time to time, but it's one of those things where the internet has been wonderful for toy collecting, and obviously most of the time that I have been collecting toys, there have been online outlets of one sort or another, but it's only been the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years that it's gotten economical, where I've been able to be like, my time is more precious than the shipping that I'm going to pay for buying this thing. But so much stuff either never hits pre-order or shows up in stores long before the pre-orders are due. Um, and so you end up doing that grind where it's like somebody found one in a Walmart in, you know, Iowa. And so now it's every single day going to Walmart, either, on the way home or on the way to work or whatever, be like just the same crap that everybody has again and again and again and again and again and again. And then you find one. You find one, like you never find everything you're looking for at the same time. You just find one or two. And then it's like, well, that Walmart's special. They actually restock. So you go there again and again and again and again. It's very much like slot machines in Vegas.
It's kind of like a old style. I mean, that's what you used to do before, you really were able to track stuff down online. You had to go hit the pavement and go to Toys R Us.
Oh yeah, well, I'm saying you still have to do that.
Yeah.
So Dan, this confuses me because I do this to a limited extent to like amiibos and things like that. But I also there's a website like Brickseeker that helps me like track these things down because
Yeah.
It's really old going to the same Walmart, seeing the same junk when I'm looking for something specific. So does Brickseeker not apply to you? And my second thing is, it's good to know people. Have you befriended anyone at all the Walmarts who would just call you and say, "Hey Dan, here's Mega Ultra Optimus Prime"?
Back when I was completist collecting, I had some folks who would get in touch with me, but that's been years ago. Now the problem is a lot of times I won't decide that I want something until after the pre-orders have already come and gone, and it's just out there in the wild, and maybe you're going to find it. I mean, I'm still looking for a Marvel Legends Cyclops from the X-Men wave. I've never found one.
The Toys R Us exclusive, the 2-pack with Jean?
No. Just the one that came out in the wave with Shatterstar and Polaris, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I've just never found one. And it's not a huge priority. I could get on eBay and order something like that very easily. But it's more of choosing the hunt, especially with stuff like that I'm I would get if I saw it, but I'm not going to hunt it, or I'm not going to just hunt it down online. But it's more of like, if I'm out and I find it, that's great. But like the specific example that comes to mind the latest time was the Wave 2, I think it was, of the Power of the Primes figures that came out in stores. I think it was Walmart's, long before pre-orders hit any of the online stores. And I'm impatient and I don't want to pay shipping. And it's like Walmart is 50 cents to stop on my way. If you consider the gas, it's 50 cents out of my way to go look occasionally. And that's just the daily grind, time after time after time. So that's pretty much it.
But why do you wait? You haven't seen the figure yet in person? You don't know how good it's going to be, or?
Why do I wait for things that I'm saying where the pre-orders sell out?
Yeah.
Most of the time it's because I don't like the initial like stock photography. Well, where Hasbro doesn't even do stock photography anymore. They do CG renders of everything coming out, and it's
So
like,
you don't know the quality.
that looks kind of cruddy. I don't
Yeah.
know that I like that. But then you see it in person, or like with the Dinobots. I wasn't going to get the Dinobots, but then I saw where people got them and unboxed them, and I was like, oh, those look really cool. I must have all of them.
Oh, you got dick envy.
No, I think it's Dinobot envy, but I understand how you could make that mistake.
Absolutely, Grimlock. Anyway, go ahead, Dan.
So I was going to say, just to comment on this, I totally understand where you're coming from. With me, I love the thrill of the hunt. Like when the Nintendo e-reader cards were hard to find, they were only at Walmart. Like it was like the adrenaline rush of going to a Walmart and actually finding like these Super Mario 3 cards. Like it was awesome.
For the record, I want adrenaline rush of going to a Walmart as the title of the episode.
Like, it's going to be here, it's going to be here, yes! And
this
then,
is like a junkie.
There you go. Amiibo junkie. I have a pin here that says like Amiibo collector. Yeah, I think it means junkie. But yeah, Omar and I were the same thing when we were trying to collect like Amiibos. It was like, get up at 6 a.m.
Don't throw me in your nerdy fucking life.
Dude, I have pictures of us together like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dan, I understand. The thrill of the hunt is often why people are like, hey, can you think you can find this? Like, heck yeah, I can find it. It'll be cool just to see if I can track things down.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
when the NES
Challenge
Classic,
accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
yeah.
Like, my buddy was like, I need an NES Classic. He's like, psh, I can find you an NES Classic in 3 days. Well, I can find you an NES Classic in 1. And I won.
Did you, though?
Did I?
I don't know. My labor of love is a lot different than yours. Like you guys are like physical things. I'm gonna go track it down. I'm gonna hunt it. I have problems with this game. Mine's all like labor of love. Like making my costumes. Like that's my hobby. So I have to research it, find all these like small detailed like you don't know what hell is until you're like, I need to find out what this character looks like from the back. I've never seen this character from the back. There's no drawings, there's no photos, so you've got to freeze frame like your game, like you've got to play to a certain point and like take the camera now. Now you can take the camera and move it around, but you would just have to move your character in a certain way and just pause your game and like sit there and draw it out or, you know, work it out. Now we've got a lot of websites that are devoted to looking up your character, finding your source material before you even start. But you know, early 2000s, I was like, well, I'm going to play Kingdom Hearts and I'm going to pause it right here on Roxas's ass so I can see what I need to work on.
Are you
intrigued by this
Are you
idea.
comparing that to me and Rob standing in line for an hour?
No,
Really?
that doesn't count.
In 1
Sorry,
hour.
dude, you lose.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's no way. No way. No way. It's spending
You're
1 hour.
spending
Spend
80
1 hour.
hours making a Falco mask. Come on.
I was gonna say, I remember you telling me the story how you didn't know how the back of Falco's neck or whatever looked like.
Yeah, so I had to look up. What did I don't even remember what I searched, but I wound up on this weird like Fox / Falco like.
This is only going
shipping.
to a bad place.
Falco, I want you to say that again. Who was shipping whom?
It was a Fox and Falco shipping, and apparently it was some type of fetish where the person is incredibly large to a small character. So Fox was incredibly large, but it was the perfect shot of Falco's backside. So I was like, this is it. This is what I have to do for my cosplay. I'm just going to look at this objectively for like Falco's backside. And I will say that for science.
Like
for
Pete
science,
Townsend.
guys. That's not my fetish.
None of that was for science. We're just making your Halloween costume that you wear at a convention.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kidding. I love what you do. I think it's great.
And how many hours? How many hours did it take you to do Falco?
I don't know. Every day I would go home and I'd spend at least 3 to 4 hours. And that was over a period of a couple months because I sculpted it. I made the molds for it. I cast it. I, fabricated everything. I did a hinge jaw. So, I mean, it took a long time. I mean, even the flags you see, like, Sanji's pirate
You did
flag.
those, yeah.
And I mean, I did those. So like I hands drew them out, painted them out, and it took me maybe 3 days for Nami because I was speed rushing it, and maybe a week for Sanji just because I did it after work because we work.
Yeah, and they look fantastic. I'm gonna go steal them next time at your place. So.
See,
Punch you.
along those same lines, Tina, I have this Transformers coloring book that I haven't actually colored anything in.
Are you trying to compare this to like the coloring?
Well, I mean, this has great potential.
Okay.
I just,
Okay.
I just haven't done it.
I'll set
That's
you up
my
in a
one
little
prop for the
corner.
episode.
You can color.
Tina, the next time you need to see what Falco looks like from a different angle, I have the Falco amiibo, and I'll just open it up and let you take a look. No, I'm not going to open it up. You just have to look through the plastic.
So that's an interesting point, though, Rob, because when you're researching characters, you find out there's different versions, and a lot of the figures will take liberties. So you can actually do a cosplay based on a figure, but it's nothing really in comparison to the actual animated material or the game material. You have different outfits. People will do cosplays now of fan art, different versions. So you really even start out deciding what you want it to focus on, which, if you want to do a cosplay based on a figure, or do you want to do a cosplay based on the second season? So, I mean, planning out your cosplay is a lot of labor of love.
Gotcha. Well, Omar, I think it's your turn to go around the table.
Yeah, and I think as a collector, you and Dan, not so much Tina, because she doesn't collect as much as we do, but at least in my hobby and in video games and in anime as well, but in manga and in comic books, as far as collected editions, when something goes out of print, they get to be pretty expensive. Looking at omnibuses and looking at hardcovers. I mean, an omnibus is $100, $125, $150. But for example, this Annihilation omnibus that you see right over here, right? That went out of print about less than a year after it came out, and now it's anywhere. It gets ridiculous. A sealed copy, I've seen it go for $500, $600. But I mean, brand new, it's still $100. The same can be said about a lot of these. That just looking through here, like the Fantastic Four down there, the Hickman Fantastic Four Volume 1, that one's also one of those white whales. They're just sought after books. Sometimes they get reprinted, and that's wonderful for the people that didn't get it. But sometimes they just don't. And I don't know. Like, some of them don't hold their value. Like, I have a Devil Dinosaur omnibus right over here, right there. And that one, you can still find anywhere from like $30 to $35. But most of these, when they go out of print, they get ridiculous. And that's part of the problem. It's like sometimes when I miss something, it goes out of print. And unfortunately, we live in the age of the internet. When it goes out of print, everybody knows about it. And I'll segue this to Rob here in a second.
Yeah.
And prices will start skyrocketing from Amazon to eBay to half.com. I don't even know if anybody fucking uses that anymore. To even Craigslist and Facebook marketplaces to match those prices that they're selling for online. It's insane. We have such a connection to everybody that as soon as you find out, hey, this book is out of print, oh shit, I've got that book, I'm going to sell it, and I'll sell it for $50 less than what everybody else is selling for online. And that's, you find that on the marketplaces and on Facebook or Craigslist rather. But it's very rare that you go into a comic book store and find one of these omnibuses at less than cover price, or one of these hardcovers at less than cover price. Or you can forget conventions too, because those guys usually know when books go out of print.
Well, and they jack it up at conventions too. They know that they've
Well,
got sort of
sometimes
a
because
corner
you've got the guys that set up each convention that have these hardcovers and trade paperbacks at half off, right?
market.
Like every convention I've ever been to has those. And even those guys will have one of the rare omnibuses or a hardcover, and you're like, "Oh shit! I hit the jackpot. It's half off." And then you look at it, and it's priced differently, and they're like, "Nah, we want $300 for that. We know how much it's worth."
Yeah.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it kind of sucks, right? And I'll tell you, and this is my segue to Rob's story because we were both after the Fire Emblem limited edition on the DS, right? And I told Rob, I was like, "Dude, this game's not even out," and I'm looking on eBay and prices are getting ridiculous because him and I were both guaranteed one. Mine shipped out from Best Buy. His was a store pickup, and a guy from the store bought his copy.
I have it here, just to complain.
But I mean, that's the problem, right? Before the game even came out, people knew it was rare, so they were going for $300 on eBay, and
Well,
then
this
people
is
on Amazon, were third party marketplace, was matching those prices of the eBay prices.
and this is while I was actively complaining, trying to pick it up. I'm looking at eBay, and the number is increasing as I'm trying to pick up mine. Oh, I was so pissed, and I was almost, well, I'm not laughing, but I was like, "Oh, Omar, he has to wait a week before he can get his. I'm just going to go to the store and pick up mine." No, that's not what happened. Thanks for bringing this up, Omar.
It's so funny. I remember that in real time when you guys were complaining about it. And I was like, oh, my friends got theirs. And you were like, they got mine.
We got mine.
Did your friends have boobies? Because that helps.
No, well, I think it was like Maddie and
Boobies?
like
You
Elliot.
know?
Yeah, so no.
I'm just saying that usually helps. Oh yeah. We've got somebody back there. Rob Fox.
No, I did do that to a game order one time. I went in and I hadn't pre-ordered it and they were holding it for somebody and I was like, oh, but it shows online it's not on hold. It shows you have one copy. And they're like, well, we'll try to get a hold of this person. Literally, I think the guy picked up, let it ring twice and hung up and he's like, here, okay, I'll sell it to you.
Yo, my God. Gonna kill you. Omar, where I thought you were going with this is I thought you were going to talk about. Hold on. It's really heavy. This thing right here. Metal Gear 4. The art of. That's what I
Yeah,
thought you were going to go
he
with this.
did.
Well, I talked about that earlier when you were
Briefly.
listening to me.
No.
So mine is up there. Mine's actually opening. I'm actually doing a video of it and should be out tomorrow.
Wow, how dare would you open it? It's going to be like the sky worth $1 million.
You're an idiot. So many, like I mentioned, Sky, the art of Final Fantasy, because there was a limited print run of. Now everybody has it, right? Anybody that's into Final Fantasy has this book because it's 3 art books and a nice little hard cover, like a box, and everybody's got it. But initially, there was a first release of it with the only difference is like, what is it, a postcard?
Yeah.
With a signature or something, and it sold out. Like, it sold out within the day that it came out. It sold out online. Like, I've never seen anything sell out so fast. I hit the buy button on a. As far as comic books, I've never seen anything sell out this fast. I hit the buy button. It was in my cart. I checked out. Like 30 seconds later, I got an email saying, "I am sorry, this item is sold out. We accidentally had it on our website." I called everybody. There was a guy that like got it for me. Where was he? He was in like Oregon or something. And then like it turned out that he's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean I had it. I can get it for you later." And I'm like, "I don't want it later. I want it now." Instant gratification. Knowing it's the same damn thing. When they re-released it, it was just everything but that little postcard. But it was just people panic, man. Especially collectors. If Rob had not found that game, I don't know if he knows where the line is to draw on how much he's willing to spend to have it. Right? Because I think all of us have a certain line. If I had missed out on one of these Omnis, like I haven't bought. There's like a Thor omnibus that I didn't pick up when it came out, and now I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had it because I really like Kirby's art in that. But that is ridiculous, especially the ones that I like to collect, the variant covers, not the direct market covers, which has the original Jack Kirby artwork on the cover. But it's insane how much money they get. Like, and I don't know if they ever sell. Like, I'm afraid to look at completed listings, but the listings that they have on there are anywhere from like $500 to $2,000 for a sealed copy. I mean, that's just no. I'm not even gonna pay. Like, I have a rule that I don't pay anything above cover price for these things, even if they're out of print. And I broke that rule once with that Usagi Yojimbo box set, the
Yeah.
hardcover box set, and that was the only time I did that. And I sold some stuff to get that. But I mean, as far as the labor of love, all my damn Billies here in this room are took me a long time to put together.
Wait. If we're counting putting furniture together,
You put two of the balls together.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
If you custom made it, sure it does, but that doesn't count.
I custom got blisters.
I don't.
All right, so
I don't think any amount of IKEA furniture putting together counts.
All right, so I'll go next. I'll go next for my second one. We'll see if I have time for the third, but I got to talk about the second one. Again, labor of love. So this thing right here. Oh gosh! This is the tank stick. It literally is as big as you think it is. It is awesome. It has real buttons, real joystick, an actual trackball.
Don't people use that for competitive, like Street Fighter?
Yes. Oh well, actually, people use more.
Yes, they
of
take it out in the
Ori
street and
arcade
beat
pros.
each other with it.
But this is typically used in like main cabinets or people who want the most authentic experience with like emulation, things like that.
Okay.
And
That thing has seen as many years as Rob has had that thing has seen a beating.
oh yeah.
Especially when we get pissed off at playing like Street Fighter against each other, motherfucker! Like we hit that thing and he doesn't see us.
Please don't do that. And so Elmar's absolutely right. I got this thing before I had children, and now I have 85 children, and they crawl all over it, drool over it, bang on it, pull
Bite
the joysticks, bite it. I'm like, how is it not broken? Wouldn't it be funny if it broke like this in real time? So, labor of love here. So my kids, we went to the local arcade called the Borough Arcade, which if you live in Lexington, Kentucky, I don't work at the Borough Arcade. So if you live in Lexington, Kentucky, and you need to go to this place. They have drinks. They have a retro like CRT2 wall full of like movies like House Party 2 and Back to the Future and Genesis's and N64s and a huge row of like pinball machines and of course there's a bar. Like it's great. It's magic. It's wonderful. And on Sundays they do like breakfast. So we went there with the kids and my kid, I should have brought a picture of this. They're playing like Millipede, right? And yeah, they're like 3, 5, and 0 and on through the spectrum. And they're trying to play this, and they're like, it's stretching at the very top to try and play the little trackball to play Millipede. And I'm like, oh, how sweet is that? I was like, y'all want to play this at home? I'm like, yeah, we play Millipede at home. Cool. This is all the incentive I need. Now, as you can tell, this tank stick, the tank stick actually does have a trackball on it. But mine quit working years and years and years and years ago. But I didn't really care because, like, the only game that I played it once or twice was Millipede, Crystal Castles, and some other stuff that I don't play that much. Most of the time I use this for Street Fighter, Hadouken Shoryuken, right? So my kid goes, I want to play Millipede. Well, as an arcade self-respecting father, I have to get this to work. So I found an email address to email these people, and I said, hey, y'all, I have this tank stick, and it's worked since 2012. I love it, except the trackball quit working like years ago. Is there anything I could do? Can I buy a part to fix it? What can I do? What are my options? And before this, I had taken this thing apart. What you can do is you can take off these rubber little things. There's 8 of these things. And you can pull off the panel and actually get to the
buy a special screwdriver set specifically for this dude.
No, you do not. You do not. A standard screwdriver set, not like this, will work just fine. So I had cracked this thing open, ran through all the wires. I should have opened it for the episode, but it's a lot of work, and I don't want to do that. There's tons of stuff in here. Everything is user replaceable, and like these guys, this X Gaming company, they've done a good job with this hardware. Good job. So I crack it open. I try and play with the trackball, hoping it just said it was dirty, if my balls were dirty or not, or if my roller pins were dirty or not, or whatever. And everything is fine. I'm like, what the fudge is the deal? So I sent this email, and they're like, oh, and like this really surprised me because this is like over the weekend. They're like, oh, we can send you some replacement parts for free. And I said,
Nice.
Keep in mind, I told them I bought this in 2011 or 12. And they were like,
How much did you pay for that thing initially?
$200. And it is built like a tank. Oh, that's why it's called the tank stick. It's built like a tank. Anyway, so they were like, here you go. 2 days later, I get this thing. All right, so it's a PCB circuit board, and a bunch of wires, a bunch of cables and stuff like that. I'm like, all right. So I crack open the tank stick again. It's not hard to open it, but there's a lot of things to go through to get to it, especially the trackball. And I crack open the trackball, which is its own enclosure, and I switch out the wires, switch out the PCB, make sure everything works, and make sure my balls are well oiled and lubricated, and put everything back, make sure it all works, and I plug it in, and poof, works like a champ. I'm doing backflips.
That's
oh
a
my
lot
gosh.
different than it went up in flames.
I know.
And it worked beautifully. And then the next day I was like, all right, children, let's play Millipede. And they played Millipede like 3 times. They're like, thanks, can we play Simpsons or something? Like, totally worth it. So my labor of love, the second, is learning. Being a gamer isn't enough. Apparently you also have to be a mechanical engineer and electrical engineer. So if things like these break, you can replace them. And to segue to this, also talking about labor of love, there's this company called 1UP Arcade that is releasing some 3/4 size arcade units of Street Fighter and some Atari games and Midway games like Defender and Joust and things like that. And I kind of want one, but it's using an LCD screen, but it has multiple games, it has authentic parts. So
I'm surprised you haven't done a MAME arcade, MAME cake. Like we've been talking about that for years. Our buddy Travis has one in his basement, and I used to have one. Remember? And then I just kind of let it sit there, and CRT died, and then the kids pulled the controllers out, and
right. And so talking about that is exactly like Travis's X Arcade. He has the X Arcade like stand-up version of this thing, and it was $500 back in the day.
Yeah.
And the Street Fighter thing is like $300. Like, okay, well, they fixed this stick for me for free. Maybe I'll just buy a stand-up arcade of it. No, those prices are long gone. It's like literally $2,000 and $3,000 to buy something to put stuff in. Oh, it's gone.
For a cabinet?
Wait, yes, for the cabinet. Like way
Does it
the
come with
fuck
a
up.
CRT?
No, it doesn't come with squad.
A blowjob.
One with it.
A handy.
An angry handy. So it's like, well,
I'll take that.
So the labor of love is, all right, I want an arcade solution for my house. This 1UP Arcade thing, maybe that's the way to go. Or maybe I should find a cabinet for the X Arcade tank sticks, but the stick still works, right? Or maybe I should go find an actual Street Fighter 2 cab or an actual Donkey Kong cab, strip it, put good new stuff in it like my Miss Pac-Man that's authentic, and maybe have a real one. So I have learned so many things about CRTs and LCDs and refresh rates and 15 kilohertz and start and.
If I had known this, one of my friends was selling a cabinet early this year. I could have hooked you up because he refurbished. He did everything. Some dorm at UK was throwing away 2 cabinets. He took one and it needed some TLC, but he refurbished it. He cleaned it up. He special ordered decals for it, made it look nice. And then he was like, I need space, if somebody wants it, best offer. Sorry, Rob.
So, dear listeners,
if you have an arcade cabinet,
you have an arcade cabinet sitting around, and I don't have room right this second, but by the time I have it in my hand, surely we'll have room. If not, worst case scenario, I'll put it on the back porch. It'll be fine. Or move the kids around. There's a baby. She was not going to notice if I'm playing Street Fighter. It's fine. So, there you go. I've learned so much about arcade crap because I want the authentic experience when I play these games. I want to play as real version of Miss Pac-Man and Donkey Kong as I possibly can. Not like the NES version, the Genesis version. I want to play real Miss Pac-Man, real Street Fighter, real Donkey Kong.
In the chat, Jeff said Tina clearly hates Rob.
I don't hate Rob.
You're I have a guy that's getting rid of his arcade cabinet. That was 8 years ago.
Yeah, well, no. Sorry. Thanks, Tina. I say thanks, Tina, a lot, and this is why. Thanks, Tina.
Dan, what kind of other labor of love stories do you have about your hobby? Stickers. Here's my problem, and then I'll let you.
Let me tell you, Dan. Let me tell you what your next story is.
I hate stickers. Right? I hate putting the motherfucking things on Transformers. And then I get a lot of third-party toys, so I have to get this little tiny Decepticon symbol on this dude's left nipple, and I'm like, fuck, my fingers are too fat. Never been a problem before. Now I got to get a pair of tweezers to get it in there. Oh my gosh, man! How do you do that? How do you deal with the? I don't have the patience or the skills. That's why I don't build Gundams, right? So, and I'm comparing Gunpla
Oh
to
yeah.
fucking stickers, but
No. But I mean, it is kind of similar in the like. I would love to do like model kits and whatnot, but I have no skills of an artist. So the best a
Well,
model kit is ever going to look is if it's,
Dan, with Gunpla,
molded in gray.
they actually make different varying skill level sets.
Oh,
So my
yeah.
friends
No,
who
I know.
build Gunpla, they do from basic all the way up to like this thing has like 3,000 pieces.
Oh yeah, there was a time when I was really into the Gundam models. I had the markers and everything, and I'd be like going in and doing like dry wash paint applications on them and whatnot. But that's been years ago. And lately,
nerd. Sorry.
the tampograph labels on Transformers are the greatest innovation in Transformers ever. I don't, come at me, bro. As opposed to like ball joints or something. No, just the printed on Autobot logos.
Sweet.
But yeah, so like the stickers these days are so rare, other than like you said, third party stuff. But like Triptychon and Fortress Maximus still have stickers, and they are cheapo metallic stickers that that rip as you're pulling them off.
Oh,
And
like his
for
eyes?
that,
Man, I was so
yeah.
pissed about that.
I mean, but it surprises me, Omar, to hear you say that you don't have like a dedicated toolkit. I like like when it's
Rob
time to do
Shitty,
that.
Big
No,
Lots,
when it's time to do that, I feel like I'm the toy restorer from Toy Story 2. I've got like my tackle box with all my
You
different
roll out
tools.
your little case.
Yeah, that just it's like all the different things that flip out. You got the little magnify glass and
Yeah, I mean, I even
everything
have
else.
one of those like little model kits and stuff for whenever I complete your gallery.
The
Oh, yeah,
moral of
that's-
Toy Story 2
years
is
into
not
it.
to open toys. So that's what you also take
look.
away from that movie.
I am a cheap ass, and I don't even have like nice shelves like you. I'd rather spend money on actual Transformers instead of like really nice glass shelves like you guys have. Hey, wait,
Turn it so we can see all the Billy bookcases again.
I built that. That's right. I built that. There, labor of love, right there. I built this. That's why it's all fucking uneven and like crooked.
And bolted
I
into
still-
the wall.
It needs to be bolted into the wall.
It ain't going nowhere. But I did that. There, labor of love.
That's
I
true.
mean, your Billies are nice. They look very classy and very chic. Like there's a
That's
big
what all the ladies say.
disparity.
No, they don't.
No one.
All the ladies say that about my billies.
So, Dan, did you have anything else to add, or do we need to see what's up on Tina's mind?
I mean, it's toy collecting has evolved so much in the last 20 years where so very little these days requires standing in line as opposed to just being in the right place at the right time. Which I was talking about earlier, but like, back in years ago when midnight releases were a thing and you go to Toys R Us for the Star Wars release and things like that. But there's not so much of that anymore. I mean, so much of it now is the grind part of it is also the fun part, which is like kind of, trolling news sites and message boards and things just to figure out what's coming out and when, and figuring out like, okay, where am I going to fit this stuff into the budget? But that's hardly a labor of love. That's just like, how can I facilitate my hobby in the most efficient way?
I hear where you're coming from, Dan, because, like, for example, recently Sony decided to release a 500 million edition of the PlayStation 4, and there were only not very many, not 500, a few more than 500, but there weren't many, and they were numbered, right? So I kind of wanted one, but I didn't really have $500. But if I had had $500, I would have had to stay online, watch the forums, watch Twitter, watch cheap ass gamer language, and all these other things to figure out when to strike. Because, like what Omar was talking about earlier, is when these things went live, they sold out instantly. And you wouldn't think a $500 PlayStation would sell out instantly, but it did. Like all sites: Target, Best Buy, GameStop.
What was it limited to? How many?
I don't remember the number. 500,000,
500,000.
No. I think it was like 5,000. It was not very many. It was
Okay,
enough to
there's a
where it was
huge
embarrassing. Like, it was enough to where it was like, if you weren't on it, like I said, at midnight or midnight 01, you were done. And again, it's a $500 item, so surely like people are like amiibos are 10, 15 bucks. People can just throw that around. $500, but it was gone.
I think though that you just described the experience of 50% of the population every September when the new iPhone comes out.
But those are coming in the 10 millions, and they will continuously
still
make
sell
those, right? They're like,
Right.
Well, yeah, but they sell out with the. But you know you're gonna get one, even though you want to be the cool kid. They
Who
get
has
the
it
first
first?
iPhone, right?
okay.
But
the answer is,
eventually there will be another run, unlike what he's talking about, the
yeah,
limited.
okay. I see the number now. It was 50,000. That's it.
Okay, so for
50,000.
50,000 units at $500, yeah, I believe it. I believe there's
Yeah.
that many fans across the board that are huge Sony PlayStation. I mean, it means a lot to some of these people.
If
Some
you
of them
didn't already
it
have a
was their
PlayStation
first
Pro,
system.
it probably was a good deal. Like, if you didn't already play PlayStation Pro, it's a good deal. I already
I mean,
PlayStation Pro.
sometimes it's nostalgia goes a long way. I mean, we've talked about it in several of our episodes how much nostalgia drives a lot of these things.
And a lot of people, I mean, you also have to take into account you've got those resellers in there popping a couple into their car and quickly buying it out so they can resell it because that's what they do for a living.
Scalpers.
Oh, these awful, horrible, horrible, awful people known as scalpers. I know. I can look on eBay and see this thing that's 800, 900
You guys
bucks.
say that like it's a bad thing, like you've never done it. Liar! Liar! I don't know about Tina.
They're the worst.
I have never, ever, ever. I've unfortunately be on the other end looking
How are
for
you going to
something I really
scalp your
want.
costumes anyway? Hey, little girl, you want to dress up as
I'm like, I know
Charlie
this
from Magic
smells
Mike
like
Random Pee in
BO
the
and
bathroom?
sweat and has concrete on it, but you want to buy this from me?
No.
No. You have to say you want to buy this from me.
This guy wants to buy it from me.
I mean, people do sell their used cosplay costumes, right? I know Maddie has, and you have
They
too, haven't you?
do, and sometimes I have fun reading them because it'll be like, this was worn once, and I was like, bitch, I see all those photos you took. That wasn't worn once.
Shit, people like Rob will pay extra for titty sweat. So,
I think they had a vending machine that sold used panties in Japan.
That's only in Japan. Only in Japan.
Yeah, you know, Rob was like their #1 customer. He was like, give me those panties.
oh, so got Sony on
only
it?
they had
That's
video
Only in
game stuff
Japan.
on them.
Only in Japan.
They had one up like mushrooms on them. Yeah, that was hot. Okay,
All
Tina, go ahead. Your turn.
I know we're crunching for time here. I've got
Go ahead.
the one like I must hunt for this, story that I have that was truly a labor of love was maybe back I was in college. So I was in college and I was like, I really want to play my favorite game of all time, which is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So I go home to pick up my copy to bring it back to the dorms.
I was hoping you'd say Bart's Nightmare. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hear you. Which is also a good game. But I drive home and I find out that my brother had some friends over of the dubious sort, and they had stolen a couple things out of my room. They stole one of my rings that my mother had gotten me for my 16th birthday, some more different jewelry valuables that I'd received from my great-grandmother, and then a couple of video games, one of which was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And at that point in time, you could not find it anywhere. Like I looked because it's early aughts. I looked as far as I could online. I called around to GameStops and used game places. We finally found one within a 200-mile radius that had it for sale for $98 down in Nashville.
And it was sitting on the shelf right next to this Pee Wee Herman doll.
No, it was not sitting next to Pee Wee Herman. But my wife was like, it's like $100. Are you really going to buy that game that you bought for like $25 years ago? And I was like, yes, I do. So I made her drive me all the way to Nashville. And the guy was like, you seriously drove like 100 miles just to get this game? I was like, yes, I did. Please just give it to me. I am forever pissed off at whoever stole my game. I yelled at my brother one way and down the other. And obviously I could care less about that like ruby ring my mother gave me or my grandmother's jewelry. I was like, I just want my Castlevania fucking Symphony of the Night. Just give it to me.
Now, I have a funny story to tell you. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford Symphony of the Night, and one of my buddies just handed me one. So, is this yours? I'm kidding. That's not yours. This is mine.
That's a Japanese version.
Yes, this one has boobies in it. This one has Carmela. I think her boobs are in this one. That is a tragic story, Tina. I think I would murder everyone if they stole like one of my games, especially something as good as Symphony of the Night. So even though you totally dissed me on this cabinet, I feel sorry for you.
All right, Tina, what are you wearing?
Oh, it's Lolita.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you talking about the horns? I made this. There's like a in Lolita fashion there for a while. The big trend was I almost did it today, was make your face like a doe, and you wear a headband with horns. But I didn't have enough time because I actually almost forgot that we were doing a live episode. I was sitting and watching anime, and my wife was like, "Oh, you're off tomorrow, honey. Don't you have something to do today?" And I was like, "It's 7:40. What do I have to do today?"
Nah,
I don't know.
nothing.
Nothing.
No. I'll just keep watching like Homes of Kyoto. Near Mint. Yeah, so sorry guys. This is what I pulled together.
I think you came more prepared than any of us.
That is not true. Okay, actually, no, she wins.
No, she won. She
totally
won.
wins.
Yeah, you look awesome, Tina. That's a whole lot of time you spent on your horns there, I'm sure.
I made it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why you're wrong, Omar.
Yeah, she's all about that tonight.
I mean, I can just whip it out of my,
What? I'm not going to take that out of context. All right. So let's take it to the chat and see if there's any questions from anybody there for the last few minutes. Just anything. Doesn't even have to be about. Or what are things you guys have done? I know Rob and I have talked about like standing in line for hours for stupid amiibos, and then like
They're not stupid.
I just think it's interesting how y'all think that's a big deal. Like, I did that so much.
You did that for like Beanie Babies too, didn't you?
We did it for every damn thing that came out from Power of the Force to the present. It's just not so much a thing anymore in the toy world. Thank God, because who has time for that as a grown up?
Ain't nobody got time for that. So while we're waiting for the questions to come in, I want to tell you all what I have been playing today. You know what's on my shirt? What is this?
Bleach.
I think that's the cover for Abbey Road.
No.
Let me
Tina.
see.
Tina, what do you got? Oh, Avatar. Legend of Korra.
No, that's not Avatar.
Mighty Hero Academia.
No.
Damn it, Tina, you suck.
It's a video game.
That is correct.
Well, he
But
did say what happened.
I'm trying to place it.
Let me see if you can see the back.
Oh shit! Dragon Quest.
Oh, okay.
I
Dragon
forgot
Quest.
that was out. So
You're an
wait,
idiot.
you're being serious. Yeah, I am an idiot. How many shirts did you steal from those kids that pre-ordered that game?
You know they all have like the price tag because he's just gonna return it.
Oh yeah, he's gonna
tomorrow.
return.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly. This shirt came from E3. You had to play the game and you had to wait in line for an hour and change. But I really, really, really wanted the shirt because one of my children, the youngest child, is named after this game. So like I wanted to make sure that I had like a shirt because that's the only thing I can provide for my child is a shirt. That her game's participating on. So I wanted this shirt and it came from that. And today the game came out, Dragon Quest 11. I have pictures of her eating it, and she actually bit like a piece of the paper. I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not a collector who keeps things in pristine collection. Oh, wait, I am, and you totally bit my game, but it's fine. This is fine. The cover is reversible. So this is the American, well, I mean, it's still good art. Pretty. And then this is the more Japanese cover.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Omar, you had asked the question, when is this game coming on the 3DS? And I told you the answer is never.
Yeah, what's going on? Am I not getting a Don't tell me I'm not getting a physical copy.
You're not getting a copy at all. So
What?
One more thing talking about labor of love, and this is not a story because we don't have time, but a labor of love is in order to play, this game only came on 3DS in Japan. And in order to make a Japanese game work on an American 3DS, it is absolutely a labor of love, getting custom firmware and all kinds of files and Nintendo system updates and yada, yada, yada to make it all work. But if you sweat enough, you can make it happen. It's just a ridiculous pain. So Dragon Quest in Dragon Quest 11 came out today. I'm super stoked for it.
So it's not coming out at all. What made that decision? Why isn't it coming out in America?
I think the reason it's not coming out in America is because money. Like, it kind of surprises me because in Japan it sold probably better on 3DS than it sold out on PlayStation 4 and PC. So I actually don't know. Maybe it was cost. Looking at game dev and how much things cost, I want to turn it down. Look at how much game dev can cost. I can see where they're like, I don't know how much if it would be worth it to go and retranslate this game. So we're not going to do it. We're only going to do it on the popular platforms because the 3DS. I mean, it's not dying, but it's not certainly not a vibrant ecosystem. Although there's like hundreds of games. I don't know. I would have loved to have bought an English version of this because what's neat about this version of the game is the top screen can be 3D and the bottom screen can be like 2D old school.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so like, why didn't they do this? I would have bought it. I would have bought it twice anyway. It doesn't matter. But at least we did get the, like I said, we got the reversible art, and there's a collector's edition that should be in my hand by the end of this week, hopefully soon.
What's wrong with you?
Shut up! I have
You got
issues.
the Japanese collector edition?
No.
Oh,
However, I have a really close friend. I have a close friend with big horn ears who's going to go to Japan soon, and that's what I'm going to ask her to bring me back to the Japanese collector's edition because it came with like a box and a sword and books and
you
stuff.
realize like that's her entire fund for the whole trip. It's going to be to buy you this stupid thing.
Well, I did have an interesting thing happen today at work. Some guy that, patronizes our place of business. Well, I can't say too much.
We occasionally call those customers.
Patients.
No,
For us, they're patients, but I can't say too much because of HIPAA. We got to chatting, and he heard that I was going to go to Japan, and he was like, this won't buy you much, but, get yourself a dinner in Tokyo, even though it probably won't cover it. And I was like, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. He's a really nice guy. I was like, no. And he's like already out the door, and he's like, have fun. And I look, and it's a freaking $100 bill.
Wow.
You realize $100 is nothing in Japan, right?
What are you talking about? That's plenty. That's really cool, Tina. Like this guy that patronized your business. Worth it.
Yeah. Totally worth it.
So I'm looking in the chat, and Matt Keys is saying when he was a kid around 10 years old, he attacked a kid for the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. That was
like a specific one?
No, he's still in the chat. But that was the 2003 remake. So I remember when those came out. That series was pretty dope. The movie, they crossed over with like the original cartoon Ninja Turtles and then the comic book Ninja Turtles. It was a cool movie. And then Nash Villains said he used to collect vinyl and camped overnight at records for the record store days. And now he just collects screen prints and collected editions. Did you ask if you asked if he collected fan art screen prints, huh?
Yeah, because that's what I do. Well, they're not they're prints. But I used to, in college, collect some screen prints because, I was part of an art program. So I knew a lot of screen printers. I knew, is it Powerhouse? I knew some people who went down to Nashville and opened up their own screen printing shop, or one of the guys that was in my same college program. And I think he was one of the guys that founded Powerhouse, but I vaguely remember. My wife would know because she actually was in the screen printing program at our college. But that's cool and legit.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff is saying that he has no franchise that he shows a labor of love for, but I beg to differ because I think he attends like every Doctor Who convention that comes into this country.
That counts. That's definitely, if you have to drive. If you've never driven 100 miles for something, then
Jeff, have you met every living Doctor except for maybe Eccleston? I think he has. Like he has met every living Doctor just about.
that counts.
Sure
That is definitely a labor of love.
I'm sure some that have passed away too. I know it was a big deal because I think in England this year, like every Doctor was there that was alive, even Christopher Eccleston, who doesn't even like admit that he was in Doctor Who anymore. So it was a big deal that he was there.
So I see in the chat, I see I play Pokemon. This is from Jeff's.
Hell yeah, Nashville. Oh, I'm sorry, I read Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Let's hit up the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
I think everyone here would say yes to that.
I
So-
can't take shots.
Oh, that's true. Except for Tina, she can drive.
But
She sucks at taking shots.
I play Pokemon video game competitively. I wonder if Rob's ever seen any of these competitions. I have not. I would love for you to send like a link or something to a competitive Pokemon because, and maybe this is an episode for another time. Things that we did an episode. Things that we just don't quite get. Pokemon is one of these things for me where I was just old enough to where I was like, I'm too grown and mature to play Pokemon. I want to play something mature like Chrono Trigger. And
This little bitch is like cutting little slimes open in Dragon.
I'm too mature to play
I'm not gonna
Pokemon. That's ridiculous.
on.
So yeah, I would love to see competitive Pokemon or competitive Pokemon Go.
My daughters are huge into Pokemon right now. Huge. And I have never played. So I feel like the dad that that's always been my brother and my cousins that have played the game. And I feel like the dad that's like, oh shit, this is something I don't, because usually when they talk to me about stuff, it's like comic books or anime or video games, I usually know it. But this is the first time that I'm like, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. You're on your way to Victory Road? That's awesome, baby. Good job. You
What
gotta
does that
beat
mean?
the Elite Four? There's only 4 of them. Okay, cool. You beat them, there's more? What? Yeah, it's really cute, and I am so lost, and I have to like text
Oh
my
no,
brother.
Pokemon is not cute. Read some of those descriptions on some of the Pokemon, and they are quite disturbing. In
Kinda
fact,
dark.
if you put a Ditto in a room with any other creature, you know what happens? You basically make a copy of that one creature because, anyways, it gets disturbing.
That is not canon. Stop it. And Omar, I know how you feel because I have some really close friends that their kid is like 8 and they're playing like the Pokemon card game. So they ask me, Rob, how does the evolution affect into the there are different genders of Pokemon and da da da? And I'm like,
You BS though, right? You're like,
oh yeah. I'm like, oh yeah.
How do
they've
card
got
games
some-
work?
What?
Yeah,
We should do an episode on card games. Okay. Nash Villains, that's an awesome. He said, "I don't get manga and I'm Asian." And Flanker, which of the Pokemon manga? Because there is a lot of them. Like, are we talking about the adventures, like Pokemon Adventures? Because I was thinking about getting those for my kids because they love reading. Both of them love reading.
awesome.
And like Lydia is working her way through Ultimate Spider-Man right now. She's read like all the complete Charles Schultz Peanuts collection, every single one of those.
That's fantastic.
That's like 40 more books than I've read in that collection, and I've owned them for like a couple of years now. So we'll just start wrapping up, and once I get my answer about which Pokemon manga to get, guys, any last words before we sign off here?
Yeah, so key word here is passion. It's not that you're a nerd or weird or anything like that. It's that you're very passionate about what you're passionate about. And if you spend hundreds of hours driving around looking for things or learning schematics or trying to fix stickers to toys, that makes you cool and passionate. And punch anyone in the head that says otherwise. Keep doing that labor love.
It's okay to be a weird nerd too.
I know that sounds like a weird nerd trying to cover up his weird nerd obsessions.
I don't know what you're talking about. Stop it.
I love that Tina says that about being weird nerds when she's got these giant horns,
Giant
coming out,
antlers.
like for no reason on a Tuesday night.
And when I'm out in public dressed like this, I'm like, and people are like, "Hey, what are you dressed as?" Like I can't say I'm dressed like a Lolita because they immediately think of a certain famous book, and I'm like, "No, it's nothing. We're in a play."
Just say Mother Nature from the Santa Claus movies. That's exactly what she
There
wants.
are kitties on
Jack
my
Santa Claus.
dress.
Oh.
Oh, did you just flash us? Mace, I saw a comment here. Mace Coaster, Don Rosa and Carl Barks Library. Hell yes. Do you watch Smash, Rob, Omar? I think there's a video of Omar smashing Rob a few times.
Shut up. I do watch Smash, and I think that Smash is actually really cool. My kids, Labor Day weekend, they was like, "Daddy, let's play Smash Brothers." And anytime they want to play a game, I'm like, fire it up. So I had to figure out how to turn on the Wii U, and they were playing Smash. And prior to that, like I saw some of the Evo competitions and stuff, Like, yeah, I love watching Smash because I'm great at Street Fighter. Like, this joystick isn't a testament to that. I suck at Smash. Like, I went to the Smash tournament at E3 and I was 7th out of 8. So yeah, I suck at Smash. But I love watching Smash. My children, on their own accord, 3 and 5, were playing it competitive, like team and competitive. I mean, they're 3 and 5, so they weren't amazing, but they were playing it. Yes, I'm all about Smash Ultimate. I've already pre-ordered 6 copies. So one for my child to eat and another to actually play. I'm ready to go.
Hey, Rob, hold up that box real quick. Nash Valence was asking what that box is. That's
This
the
is
Metal Gear Solid box set, and
it's the front of it.
I'm doing an overview of the books inside of it because Rob will never open it.
I will never ever open this ever. So yeah.
And when are you going to release that, Omar? That video?
Probably tomorrow. I'll edit it tonight because I just did the recording of it a few
Awesome.
minutes ago before we started doing this. It's a beautiful box set, and for the price that it's at right now, it's well worth it. I think Rob and I got it for less than 50.
Can you find it on eBay or
It's still available on Amazon,
Okay.
and I'll post the link here too, and then it's available on InStock Trades.
It's
this is a Dark
really
Horse.
good.
Yeah, it's huge, man. Evo was great. Dragon Ball Z was a tournament as well. Man, I need to watch some of those tournament videos. Makes me feel old.
You absolutely should watch Evo because then 2 things will happen. You'll be like, "Wow, these guys are great. I should learn to play." And then you're like, "There's no chance I'll ever get this competitive."
Okay.
And I'm really good at Street Fighter. And there's just
You're right.
you have never beat me.
Twice.
No.
Dan, any last words?
No, that's pretty much it.
Tina, you want to whore out our Instagram and Twitter and things like that?
Yeah. Hey, guys, if you don't already follow us on Twitter, Instagram, please, Facebook, like, subscribe, look in the show
LinkedIn.
notes. LinkedIn.
I think we have a
in
GeoCities and like a
LinkedIn.
MySpace page too.
That's lawyer
Do we have a-
Dan speak there.
That's what I was going to say, Rob. Do we have a MySpace as well?
I think we have MySpace and GeoCities page too.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, please like, subscribe, and I think we all should get together sometime and play around a Smash. I mean, I suck, but I think we could duke it out.
Well, we can actually pull this off. I'm sure when Smash is released,
Ultimate comes out. Let's have a party.
All right.
We'll video recorded. I don't know what the kids call it these days. We live stream it. We'll live stream it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And this is Omar. And I will see you on Thursday and tomorrow on Omni Bros. So, good night.
Peace out.